peace. Peace and quiet. To talk to myself. By myself. Just feels nice sometimes, you know? To just talk to yourself and be at peace with yourself in silence. You know? I'm very pleased with how my book is coming along. Um, I am about 5,000 words behind schedule, but it doesn't matter too much as long as the sentiment, the motivation is still there, and it very much is. It's when things start petering out, and I have struggled to keep going with a creative project. But I feel like I'm in the good mindset, good. I'm at a good point in my life creatively and sort of maturity wise. Um, to endure, and it is an endurance, a long project, a long creative project. It's something that I needed to build up to, um you have to build up to these things. Everything in life is training. Everything is training. You're getting better. You start off shit, and then you gradually get better. uh so I feel like I'm at a stage now where I could probably actually realistically finish this book, which is so fucking cool. So cool. I mean, it'll take another like 6 months maybe, but which sounds like a long time, but it's not. It's not a long time for a book. I'm about 25% through, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It's a big percentage. And I have a very good idea of kind of where the story's going. I'm doing a little bit of editing at the moment. I'm going through my first chapter, and it was kind of like a little bit exposition-y dump. So I went back and I introduced some characters that hopefully they're not long-term characters. They're just set pieces, basically, to um, establish the world a little bit more and the events that are happening in the world. But I was supposed to do quite a chunk today, but I cooked and cleaned and then played games instead. And I regret that. I regret the game part, especially because it was very unsatisfying. So I probably won't touch games and now for another week, maybe. I don't really play much anymore anyway. I checked the weather forecast and I thought it was coming into colder weather. And it is colder than it was. Not that it's hot here. When I say cold, I mean cold for me is um, I would need it to be much lower than it is. It's only double digits at the moment. Low double digits, but I was expecting it to get much lower. But my sense of like seasons is fucking shit. So uh yeah, it'll be a while before I can sort of work in like long coastal walks. Um but I have been walking not in a couple of days, but I went out walking in a little rainstorm, which was fine, nice. Got soaked. Uh, that's all right. I don't enjoy the rain as much as I used to. I used to love the rain. Loved the rain. Loved to play football in the fucking rain. Loved to walk in the rain. Any excuse to go out in the rain. Not so much a fan of it these days for some reason. I'm noticing something about myself internally. And this is gonna sound like a bit, yeah, ethereal, not really rooted in physical, but it's not really spiritual either or anything like that. And it's not really. I suppose it's psychological, but it's not really a complaint per se, but it is something that I would like to address eventually somehow. I'm not sure how. Um, I'm very unsettled inside. And what I mean by that is like I don't feel like I'm ever still inside. And I remember distinctly that I used to have moments when that was the case. And I would like to get that back. People, like when you go to bed, even if you can't sleep, somebody who has sleeping problems, even when you're laying there, you can still rest, right? You can still settle in some way. Your mind may still be active, but you can still settle. I'm not talking about mind. I mean, that's another problem. Like my mind is always going, but it's more here. It's like somebody has switched me into overclock, you know, and I can't get rid of it. Um, and if I had weight loss or something akin to that, I would say that because my family has thyroid problems. Granted, mom, hers is underactive. She put on a lot of weight and she's on like lifetime medication uh, to deal with that. And thyroid problems are quite common. My granddad had hyperactive thyroid. And I imagine I would be prone to a hyperactive thyroid. And I would say, when I think about a hyperactive thyroid, and when I've heard him talk about what it was like for him, um, I would say that's kind of what I'm experiencing. But I don't have weight loss or anything like that, so it can't be that unless you could have a mild form. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. But it's also not something that's come on recently. It's something that's sort of been the case for a while. The only time that I can really settle is if I mean in recent history, the only time that I've really settled was being able to rest and sort of have a mind that is not pulling in 10 different directions at a million miles an hour is when I for a period of time I would walk like fucking double digit miles every day for like 3-4 hours because I had a lot of stuff to work through in my head. And I'd been away from the coast for years and I just missed it so much. So it felt natural. It's harder to do that now because I get bored. And I've tried to address it with like podcasts, like Fall of Civilization podcasts, and I always listen to music. But you can only do that for so long, you know. And it's also a big time sink to walk for that amount of time, not daily, but like a couple of times a week maybe. Uh, but I mean that's also part of the problem. Like I'm obsessed with time management. You know, it takes a great deal of effort for me to curb the notion that I'm wasting time. Wasting time. I need to be efficient with my time. Ow. Um, So yeah, I really wish I could have a peace inside, you know? It's the sort of thing that if I could easily get get some fucking weed or something, like I would try that. No, I've had bad experiences with weed before. Um, I had a little bit of a strange panic attack on one. On I smoked a whole lot of my bud, and had a little bit of a meltdown, which did not feel great. Um, so I haven't really touched it since. And no, I don't have. But first of all, I mean, I used to grow, and I don't grow, and I can't grow here anyway. And I couldn't be arsed anyway, because it fucking stinks. Um, Surprise. But I also don't know anybody anymore, so I wouldn't even know where to look. Like I have an idea of where I could probably, but I'm not that fussed. Uh, it might actually be time to just go to the fucking doctor. I put off the doctor so much because trying to get a doctor's appointment is pain in the fucking arse. Uh, and then talking to them is a pain in the arse because they're a lot of doctors think they're much smarter than they are. And society facilitates that, and that's okay because medicine is very important. Having a doctor in medicine is important to society. Um, I just wish that a lot of doctors didn't so fully embrace their status, you know, because a lot of them are not, in my experience anyway, are just not very good at their jobs, unfortunately. Um, and furthermore, a couple that I've met sort of use it as an excuse to have per bedside manner, right? You basically get a license to be a fucking dick, um, and that's not okay, especially if you're working with the public. Uh, like, yeah, it's difficult to work with the public. I've worked with the public. Public are so many fucking idiots out there. Like, it's insane. But if you're something like a doctor, like, I mean, that's a big deal, you know? So you should probably not be a fucking shithead about it, right? In my opinion. What do I know? I'm just a fucking Goomba waiting for somebody to stomp on my head. Uh, yeah, I didn't really have anything particularly pressing to talk about. I just didn't want to write. I'm watching oh shitty show. It is shitty. It's kind of funny actually. It's it's this new it's like a BBC drama. It has Sam Neill in it. It's like a mystery, right? It's this family and the mother goes missing. Um, and it's sort of like their weird little family dynamics. It's a very kind of wealthy, um, athletic based family in the United States. And if you're wealthy in the United States, like I mean especially wealthy and competitive, like the world is yours, basically, right? You're so far removed from ordinary people that it's a little bit like I always come back to this. It makes me think of Victoria, England, right? Where you have such a gap between normal and whatever this is, right? It's like that. Uh, but the acting is so shit. Or is it? I don't know. See, this is the thing. Like, I can't tell if they're behaving this way as part of the characters, or if the acting is just shit, like it's just throwing me off. Because I'm trying to guess, I'm trying to figure out like what's going on. Because Sam Neill, the dad, he's like the only actor that I know in it. He's a good actor, and it must be just part of the way that it's written and directed, because he's a great actor, but he's also acting very like odd, like aloof, but not obviously aloof, just strange, a strange aloofness. Uh, so I don't know. So I'm watching it just as I'm trying to relax, I'm trying to chill out. Maybe I should take up meditation. I tried to meditate years and years and years ago. I was okay with it, but um, I could never like get into that kind of settled state, that center that they talk about, right? Uh, that calmness, I could never achieve that. Uh, but maybe I should practice again now that I'm much wiser than I used to be. Uh, I made like a weird stew, and it's more tasty than my normal stew. I had some leftover potatoes, and I stole some peppers, and I put pickled jalapenos in it, and I had some leftover frozen corn, and I bunged a whole lot of garlic in it, and bay leaves and tomato puree. Basically, just all these leftovers and a tin of curried mackerel, and I put curry powder in it and paprika, um, and a little bit of sugar and vinegar, and it's just like it's so good. All this like leftover stew I made is delicious. It's very spicy though, because I put like half a jar of pickled jalapenos in it, you know. But I'm struggling not to eat another bowl because I eat too much. I eat too much crap during the day. Anyway,